Welcome to 7 Celebrity Things. In this video, crazy celebrity facts you won't believe are true. Part 1. Number 1. They believe in leprechauns. I believe in all of these Irish myths, like leprechauns. Megan Fox said in an interview with Esquire, not the pot of gold, not the Lucky Charms leprechauns, but maybe was there something in the traditional sense. I believe that this stuff came from somewhere other than people's imaginations. Number 2. They hire people to remove the cardboard sleeve from their coffee. I hate the sleeve on a Starbucks cup. Kim Kardashian once admitted on her website, as spotted by Stylecaster. I'll leave the room for someone to take it off for me because I cringe from the sound. It's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I hate cardboard. Number 3. They get into bidding wars over a dinosaur's skulls. Who wants a Mongolian dinosaur skull more? Nicolas Cage or Leonardo DiCaprio? Turns out, it's Cage, who, according to Vanity Fair, bested the Revenant star in a bidding war for the privilege of paying $276,000 for the world's most expensive paperweight. Take that, Leo. Number 4. They feed their babies like birds. On her health food site, thekindlife.com, Clueless star Alicia Silverstone posted a video of the surprising way she feeds her son, Bear. I fed Bear the mochi and a tiny bit of veggies from the soup. From my mouth to his, she wrote. It's his favorite and mine. To be fair, some have claimed that pre-chewing food for an infant has health benefits, like boosting a baby's immune system, and is the norm in many non-Western cultures. Number 5. They own solid gold bathtubs. Among other outrageously poor money decisions too numerous to reveal here, Mike Tyson once reportedly dropped an estimated $2.2 million on a 24-karat gold bathtub for his mansion in Ohio. Number 6. They give each other tickets to outer space. For Russell Brand's 35th birthday in 2010, his then-girlfriend Katy Perry bought him a $200,000 ticket on Virgin Galactic, Richard Branson's suborbital spaceflight. We are very excited to have him on board, a rep for the company told E!News. Unfortunate for both of them, Virgin Galactic is still in test flight mode years later. Number 7. They buy their children entire rooms of candy. We're not talking about a standard playroom, where kids can keep their toys and games. We mean a room devoted exclusively to candy. That's what Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon created for their twins. A room that physically contains every type of candy they could possibly want, from gigantic lollipops to their very own cotton candy maker. Number 8. They have ghost detecting machines. Lady Gaga is afraid of some ghosts, specifically a ghost named Ryan, that she's pretty sure is haunting her. So she spent a whopping $50,000 on an electromagnetic field meter designed to detect poltergeists. Number 9. They have a fly species named after them. The Grammys weren't enough for Beyoncé, who now gets an insect named after her. It happened in 2012 when researchers in northern Queensland, Australia, discovered a new species of horsefly, so they named it Scaptia Beyoncé, apparently because of the golden hairs on the fly's abdomen. Researchers even claim that the rare horsefly is the all-time diva of flies. Number 10. They rent out entire theaters to watch a movie. As rapper-actor Ludacris admitted in a 2016 Instagram post, sometimes you have to rent the entire movie theater out for your fam and babies to yell and disrupt the movie in peace. Hashtag now that's Ludacris. Sure, knock yourself out. It's like how we leave a jacket on the chair next to us in a movie theater so nobody sits down and... Okay, never mind, it's nothing like that.
Seven things you didn't know about Cardi B. Number 1. Her real name is Belcalis Almanzar. Although we know her as Cardi B, true fans know that the musician has a much longer moniker, Belcalis Almanzar. Both names are Spanish translations of Arabic words. Belcalis is thought to be a reference to the Queen of Sheba, while Almanzar, from the Arabic Almandar, apparently translates to lookout point or watchtower. Number 2. Her mom is from Trinidad and her dad hails from the Dominican Republic. The rapper's mother and father come from Trinidad and the Dominican Republic, respectively. Being raised by two working parents in High Bridge, South Bronx, a predominantly Latino neighborhood, Cardi B grew up surrounded by multicultural influences. Number 3. She was born and raised in the South Bronx and is proud of her roots. Like many Bronx-born rappers, Cardi B is proud of her hood and credits her upbringing for her success as a rapper. It's a great experience, she told AM New York of her life growing up in the South Bronx. I wouldn't be able to rap about the things that I rap about now if I hadn't grown up there. Number 4. She doesn't have a driver's license. Although Cardi flaunted her new set of wheels on social media, she admitted she doesn't have a license or know how to drive. I don't even have a fucking license, the rapper said in an Instagram live selfie after she bought herself a car. How do you expect me to know how to drive when I've taken the train my whole life? City kids can relate. Number 5. Her nickname Cardi B is short for Bacardi. But the famed Cardi B stage name didn't actually originate from the rapper's birth name, Belcalis Almanzar. In an interview with Jimmy Fallon, Cardi B explained that her title is actually short for Bacardi. My sister's name is Hennessy, Cardi B explained to the talk show host. So everyone used to call me Bacardi and I started calling myself Bacardi, which eventually was shorted to Cardi B. Number 6. Fittingly, she has a sister named Hennessy. Cardi B garnered the Bacardi nickname due to the fact that her parents named her sister Hennessy, like the brandy. Number 7. Back in the day, Cardi B worked as a cashier at an Amish market. One thing many people don't know about Cardi B, as a teenager, she worked the cash register at an Amish market in Tribeca on a salary of $250 a week.
I am going to be talking about a topic that everyone has been talking about the last 2 weeks, I believe. And I've never done a video like this. I've never done a gossip video. I've never talked about what's going on in pop culture for the most part, especially American pop culture. But I felt the need to talk about this video. I don't know if I'm just, jumping in with the trends or if I have something to say. But maybe someone will be able to, watch my video and maybe learn something from what is going on in social media, what's going on in people's lives and how it affects everyone. So the topic that I'm going to be talking about is the situation going on with the Kardashian family and the girl, well, she's not a girl, the young lady, Jordyn Woods. I didn't know who Jordyn Woods was until, let's say, maybe when Kylie came out with her cosmetics. Then I slowly started hearing about Jordyn Woods, because that was her best friend. So I did what I always do when I don't know something. I Googled her and I found out a little bit about her. But since she was so far in the background, it wasn't anything interesting to me at that time. I was like, okay, she's just a black girl who is friends with a rich white girl. And I was like, I rolled my eyes and I just pushed it to the back of my head, because every video that I saw with Kylie and Jordyn looked just over it. She just looked like she didn't want to be there. She looked depressed. She looked annoyed. I'm not saying she was annoyed with Kylie. I felt she was uncomfortable being in front of the spotlight. That was my opinion. I just felt like she didn't feel comfortable being in front of a camera. I could be wrong, because I feel like with the Kardashian family, they love and they thrive off being on camera. So when you see someone who doesn't look as excited about being on camera, you're just like, okay, they just push her there for, clout, for money, So that's what I thought when I saw her. So I didn't really pay any attention to her. I just brushed her off until recently when everything went down. So let's get into this whole video. Let's begin. Alright, so in 2006 is when I believe Paris Hilton jumped into the limelight, and with her came her gang of mean girls. And when I think of her crew, I think, you know, Nicole Richie, I think Lindsay Lohan, and of course there are other girls too that were a part of the Kardashian Little Mean Girls group. So I feel like that was when I first realized that being rich didn't automatically mean that you were happy. Being rich didn't mean you were automatically classy or sophisticated. So in that time, around 2006, when social media was popping, you know, MySpace was thriving, everyone was seeing these girls just acting a fool, acting amok, and you were seeing that rich people are just as ghetto, just as obnoxious as everyone else. It's just that they have money, which makes them even more, because you think that if they have money, they'll be able to behave themselves. And you realize in 2006 that they didn't have their shit together either, or their it together. And that time, the Kardashian weren't a name on social media yet. It was just Paris Hilton and her crew. I mean, of course, they all knew each other. They were all rich. They all hung out. But even before 2006, before Paris Hilton jumped into the limelight with her risque behavior, the Kardashians first had their first taste of fame in the 90s. In the 1990s, I think it was around the mid-90s, when the O.J. Simpson case, you know, when we first heard about the Kardashian was around the time when the O.J. Simpson case came about. And we heard about the Kardashian because O.J. Simpson lawyer, one of his lawyers was Robert Kardashian, who is father of the Kardashian clan. Let's call them that, the Kardashian clan. So that's when I believe these people had their first taste of fame, and since then they've been plotting to get more. And I believe around that time the mother realized that in order for her to not just be rich but to also gain fame, she would need a black man, because for whatever reason, when people are tied to a black man, it equals fame and notoriety. So I personally believe that was the time when the wheels on her head started moving around, and she was like, oh, how can I capitalize on this more? And I believe she slowly started grooming her children to date black men. That is my opinion. I don't think anybody can say otherwise, because every single one of her daughters has either dated or married a black man. People would say, oh, but Courtney had children with a white man, and you know, she didn't marry him, but she, you know, she was engaged to him. But Courtney's first husband was a black man. So I believe this is because of the mother. If the mother did not groom them to love black men, I'm pretty sure the majority of them would not be dating black men or marrying black men till today. And I believe the reason why she groomed her daughters to love black men, because she realized that famous black men tied to women equals fame, success, and money. And she already had the money, but she didn't have the fame. But she knew that if she linked herself to a black man, she would be able to gain that. And since she was already married to a white man, the only way she can be able to get that fame was through her daughters. And lucky for her, she had mostly daughters. And even her son had a child by a black woman. Go figure. So she was very successful in her goal to be able to capitalize off Black people's misery. And we'll get into that right now. All right, so jumping back to Paris Hilton. So we know in 2006 or 2005, around that time, she leaped into the spotlight because of her behavior. And then when she came out with a sex tape, that's when everyone was really talking about her and everyone knew who she was. And she had a friend named Kim Kardashian. So Kim, who I believe probably had already been married to a Black man and divorced him, realized that, okay, so this Black man that I've married and divorced is not gaining me my fame that I want. I need to link up with a famous Black man. So that's where Reggie Bush, what's his name? No, Ray J. Was Ray J before? Yeah, Ray J was before Reggie Bush. I'm pretty sure Ray J was before Reggie Bush, because that's when the sex tape came out. Was it? Because it was Reggie and then it was Kanye. So let's say it was Ray J, Reggie. Oh my gosh, she's been with so many Black men. I don't even know the timeline. Let's not even worry about the timeline. So trust me, I'm gonna get to the Jordan Woods situation. I'm just leading up to that. So there's a whole process that goes into this. So we know that Kim came out with a sex tape with Ray J. And how she met Ray J, I don't even know why. She was working for, I believe, Ray J's mother, Sonia. Which doesn't make sense because she was rich. So why would you hire a rich white girl to work for you when they probably have more money than you? So for me up to now, that's really sketchy. What I think is she was probably dating Ray J and then wanted to be around him, and the mom gave her a job so she can always have access to Ray J, so people could be like, oh, who's that girl, and they could just brush it off and keep the relationship, you know, more private by saying, oh, she works for my family. I mean, at least if I was in that situation, that's what I would do. I will hire my boyfriend, or I will have my boyfriend hire me to work with the family so people won't ask a lot of questions. They would just be like, oh, she works with the family. That's what I would think, because to me it didn't make sense why a rich girl who's probably richer than the Norwood family would be doing an internship for the mother or something like that. She was working for the mother with clothing or something like that. I don't know what it was. And then they had a situation where she supposedly was stealing, which I don't even understand. How is it that you have money but you're stealing? I need to go online and Google all of that, and then I'll have the information, what was going on with her, Ray J, their mother. But they had some legal issues where she either stole clothes or she was doing something that was very deceitful, even though she was already a rich girl, because her father was rich, you know, and her mother was a socialite. So yeah, so Kris Jenner groomed all of her daughters to date Black men. Some people will call it a fetish and say that these girls have a fetish for Black men, but I think it's more calculating than that. I think it's more bigger than a fetish. I think it's a business strategy that this family has planned and schemed. Is not, I wouldn't say that they love Black men, but I think they love what Black men represent. And for them, they have been able to learn how to capitalize on Black men, and for that, it has equal money for them. So for them, Black men equals money. Linking up, being associated, marrying, dating Black men, for them equals millions, and even in Kylie's case, billions of dollars. All right? And not just Black men, but Black women too. Especially for Khloe and Kylie, they have that token Black best friend, because we know when Paris came on the scene, her token Black friend was Nicole Richie, who people were up in the air if she was black or, not. And also they used to carry dogs around. That was their other token. So for the Kardashian, these best friends equal that either token, pet, dog, or that token friend that makes you not only appeal to your white peers, but it also make you appealing to the black race. And that's the reason why these Kardashians are marrying and dating black men, having black children, having black BFF, is because not only are they trying to get money and appeal to their own race, but they know that if they have that one black friend, date that black guy, they're going to be able to appeal to black people too, black men and black women, and that equals a lot of money. That's why they're building millions and billion-dollar empires by capitalizing on black people, as well as their own people. They already know their own people is guaranteed. Them just being white automatically gains them success within the white culture. But for them to gain success with black people as well and appeal to black people, they need to have someone black around them. That's why at all times they have either a black best friend or a black boyfriend or husband. So it's all a business strategy. It's not that they have fetishes for black men, because I feel these Kardashian, if they knew that they can capitalize on white men, Asian men, Latino, Spanish men, they would do the same. It's just they haven't figured out how to do that, and that's why they haven't been dating and marrying white men, Asian men, or having children by them, because they haven't figured out how to appeal and capitalize off those races. Alright, so another thing about these Kardashian is how they treat each other and how they treat relationships. I've found a lot of them to be toxic, especially Kim, towards the rest of her family members. And slowly Khloe has been copying Kim and, getting her characteristics of being very selfish, being very greedy, and being toxic towards her family members. I can't say if all of them are like this. I feel like for the most part right now, the head mean girls within the Kardashian clan is Khloe as Queen Mother, Black Widow. She's the first one. And then after her is her little lackey, which is Khloe. And then after that, I'll say maybe Kylie, and then Kourtney, and then Kendall. I don't know. Kendall is just like, she does her own thing too. She's a part of it. She has the characteristics of the family, but she also lays low and try not to get roped in too much, even though they try to. And they I think slowly they're gonna wear her down. As I was saying, out of all of the clan, the one that has been laying low and is trying not to get herself too, invested in this whole whatever it is that they're running, their pyramid scheme, I'll call it a pyramid scheme, is Kendall. She hasn't gotten to that point. Even though they try to rope her in, she still hasn't succumbed fully to that lifestyle, and hopefully she'll be the level-headed one. Kourtney's a little bit level-headed, but they've gotten her in some aspects where I also tries to be the level-headed one. But all of them are always doing some kind of fuck shit, whether we know about it or not. So the biggest one is Kim, and then Khloe, and then Kylie. Those are the three mean girls in that clan. The ones that everything, when drama pops up, they're in the midst of it. Those three ones right there. And I feel like they've been the ones that have become the most marketable ones for their mom, Kris. And so she's trained them the best. on how to be able to capitalize off of Black culture. All right, so now let's get to Jordyn Woods and how she gets involved in this. All right, so when I first found out that Jada Pinkett Smith was going to interview Jordyn Woods, I was like, the first thought that came into my mind was, oh, she's capitalizing on the situation. I already knew they had a relationship, but then I saw clips of it and I heard the questions she was asking her, and I was like, no, actually, this is actually good. This was an amazing idea, and I'm happy she quickly jumped on it to be able to defend this young girl who is a part of her family, because she knows how the Kardashian clan are. I am surprised, I am shocked that Kim, Khloe, Kourtney, none of them jumped on Will Smith, or maybe they tried and were not able to be successful. Because I can tell you, Will Smith is the big fish that all of those Tatianas, Kardashian wish they could have. They wish they could just fry him up and eat him. But we know Jada Pinkett Smith is not having none of that. But I also feel like another reason why Jada Pinkett Smith did this interview with Jordyn Woods is because she has a bone to pick with the Kardashian. If people don't know, her son, Jaden, supposedly dated one of the Kardashian, which was Kylie. I don't know how that relationship went down, but all I know is before she dated him, he seemed like a wholesome boy. He was doing movies. He seemed like he had a good head on his shoulder, and then after he hung out with her and dated her, he just seemed very down, depressive, confused about his identity, and just all over the place. And I feel like these women, I don't know if they are possessed by Nicole Brown Simpson's ghost or whatnot. I'm just saying, let's be honest. Anytime one of these girls link up with a Black man, they suck his soul dry. When they're done with him, he is on drugs. His mental state is shot, as he's like off the range, or just something happens. Every single relationship they have been in, they have not had a successful relationship with Black men. And I feel like they're doing some kind of, I don't want to say it's juju, voodoo on these Black men, but I wouldn't be surprised, because every single one of them, from Lamar to Kanye, even this Travis Scott guy, is going through it. He'll take pictures and he's covering his face. He doesn't want to be seen. He looks all depressed. I'm not saying he was a talkative person before this Kylie relationship, but he didn't seem this depressive. When he was dating that beautiful Amman model, he seemed happy at that time. He seemed confident, but now he seemed beaten down. And I don't know if they find this man when they're at the lowest point and then take them down further, or they take them from their highest point and bring them down to their lowest point. So that's why I believe Nicole Brown Simpson ghost has possessed every single one of these Kardashian girls. I feel like that's the case. I feel like she's coming back from the dead, possessed all of them, and her goal is to destroy all Black men. And they're giving them the key. They're like, here, destroy me. And is it worth it? Because they all leave. You know, the only one who hasn't left yet is Kanye. And Travis has just started. He's just gotten into it. He's new to the game. Let's see how long he lasts. Because for whatever reason, these girls snatch up these Black men but can't keep them. The only one that is struggling and trying to truck through it is Kanye, and that's because he's a Gemini. He doesn't want to accept defeat. He doesn't want to fess up and own up to the fact that he fucked up by getting with her. People say Geminis and Libras are a great match. I feel like it's one of the most toxic match you can ever have. They say, oh, Libras are balanced and Gemini have dual personality. They go so well together. That's bullshit. Geminis can be balanced by Libras because their dual personalities are polar opposite. I'm a Gemini, I know. I don't get along with Libras. My mom was a Libra. My father was a Gemini. They were the most toxic pairing ever. I've had friends that are Libras and I don't get along with them because our personalities conflict with each other. So I don't know. I feel like whoever did the horoscope and said Gemini and Libras get along didn't like Geminis and Libras and wanted to fuck up Geminis and Libras by telling them that they get along so people would think that they do, and then group themselves together and then just blow up and come back. Because I personally do not get along with Libras and I do not get along with Pisces. Those are the two signs that I stay away from, Pisces and Libras, because Geminis do not get along with those signs. So anytime I hear there's a person who's a Gemini or a Libra and they're with Geminis or Libras, I'm like, oh, this relationship is definitely not gonna work. So with the whole Kim and Kanye, they probably came up with some kind of fake business alignment where they're stuck together because they don't want to show the world that the world is right, that their relationship is toxic. So they're just, I feel like they're just business partners. I don't even feel like there's anything more to their relationship than business. They're both getting money. He needs money. She has money. So she's like, stay with me and I'll get you money and let me capitalize off your culture so I can get money. And now they have this whole thing where Kanye is gonna run for president so she can become a first lady. That's not gonna happen. Kanye is not mentally capable of becoming a president. Of course, people can say the same for Donald Trump, who's another Gemini. But the difference between Donald Trump and Kanye is that Donald Trump is white and Kanye is black. They might have the same personality and he can get away with it because of white privilege, but Kanye, black privilege has not yet hit America. And until black privilege hit America, you're screwed. Alright, so guys, I'm gonna read for you some stuff that I found online and talk about that stuff. I will also put it on the screen so you guys can see. The first thing I'm going to read, after this scandal with Jordyn Woods and Tristan Thompson happened, of course, Khloe and Kim were the people publicly speaking on it, you know, being mean girls as always. Kim is always ready to be a mean girl and jump into the mix of things and give her opinion. She needs someone to, I'm not going to even say it because I don't want my channel to get a strike or anything like that, but she has a lot of mouth, so she needs to watch herself. So anyway, so after all of that went down and everyone, you know, was defending Jordyn and saying, you know, you Kardashians, all of you guys are Latinas. You guys like to sleep with other people's men, take other people's men. You guys don't care if the people are married or not. You're always snatching husbands and you're snatching boyfriends left and right because that's what they do. You gotta watch your husband and boyfriend when these girls come around because they will snatch them away. So after she said all the stuff she was saying and, you know, basically accusing Jordyn of cheating with Tristan and just being really disgusting, she had the nerve to retweet a message about Day of Empathy. So after she did all of that stuff, she had the nerve to retweet a message, and it said, a message from Kim urging everyone in California and across the nation to register for the Day of Empathy on March 5th. Also shouting out, put them on blast, AC, others. Thanks for your support, Kim. This came from a tag called 50. I'll put it up there. So you're meaning to tell me after you harassed this girl, had people threaten this girl, drag her, you have the nerve to put out a message talking about day of empathy, something that you lack and have never had a day in your life? You're a nut job. That's all I have to say. I feel like Kim Kardashian is a nut job. She's out of this world. She's a habitual hypocrite. She would do something, and then when someone else does it, it's a problem for her. She's a cheater, a serial cheater, but when someone else does the same thing, she has something to say about it. So that was one thing that she put out. She even has a video. And then everybody has been talking about all of the tweets that Khloe has been putting out. First, accusing Jordan of being a liar, and then saying that it's not Jordan's fault, it's her ex's fault. I'll put those up there too. I'm not going to even read them. I'm not even going to get into them. When I read people's comments to her tweets, they were really going in on her. They were not letting up. They were like, you know, good for you, karma. And I agree with everything they all said, but I'm not gonna repeat it in this video because I already agree. I also looked on Kylie Jenner, what's it called, her social media accounts, because I wanted to see what she felt about this, because Khloe and Kim were being very loud and obnoxious about this whole situation, and this is her best friend. So I wanted to see her thoughts on it. She didn't mention anything about the whole situation on her Instagram, as far as I know. She's only been posting pictures of herself. But when I went on her Twitter page, I thought it was very telling that the heading on her Twitter page is actually a picture of her and Jordan. So, you know, people could be like, okay, she hasn't been on Twitter for 5 days, but she could have removed it. They said that she scrubbed other stuff from her media page. You know, I looked on her Instagram and she still has pictures of her and Jordan up. She hasn't removed those pictures. She hasn't archived them. She hasn't made them private. On her Twitter page is still a header with her and Jordan. She hasn't removed that either. So it doesn't seem like, as even though Jordan has moved out of her home, I don't even know why they were living together. I guess because they're young and best friends. It would make sense. That's why they're living together, to support each other. But she's moved out, which I think is a great idea. I think Jordan needs to pave her own path. She has the money. She doesn't need to rely on these people for success, for fame, or anything like that. She has the Smith family supporting her. She has her own family. I think it's time for her to get her own apartment and do her own things. Make some black friends, girl, if you don't have any. Get you some black girlfriends. You know, don't, you know, because I feel like when you're black and the majority of your friends are, you know, white or a different race, you'll have identity crisis and you won't even know what you do with yourself. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't have friends of different races, but have a balance where you also have friends of your own race, so you'll be able to know who you are and be able to relate to your own race. And, you know, so when things go down, like what happened, you know, a lot of black people were defending and supporting her, and I'm sure she was shocked by that, and she was relieved and happy, because she probably thought that, you know, nobody would support her, because this clan, you know, this Tatiana, you know, what's it called? The Tatiana clan, they're very strong and they're not powerful. They think they're powerful, but they're not powerful. But they're very notorious. So when they bark, it's very loud, but that's all it is. It's loud. You know, it's loud without any, like, power behind it. So she probably thought that it was going to be the end of her. They were going to ruin her life. But they actually, by, you know, doing that, they just brought her to the forefront. So they just gave her a push in the right direction. Now she can be able to capitalize off this whole situation for the better and, you know, do something positive with her life. And, you know, I won't say that her and Kylie shouldn't be friends, but I feel like she should, from now on, be very guarded when it comes to this family, because this family is a very petty family. Even though she apologized, even though it was a mistake, and even though it was more his fault than her fault, I feel like they're gonna keep it in the back of their mind, especially Khloe and Kim. And if she ever gets into a great relationship with a good man, especially a black man who's successful, those thoughts are gonna probably sleep with him, or hire someone to sleep with him and take him away from her, and their excuse is gonna be like, oh, you did it to us first, even though everybody knows Tristan is a dog and he sleeps with everybody and anybody, and he was never really Khloe's. But she's gonna, I feel like she needs to be careful with them from now on moving forward. She can't trust them anymore. Point blank, she can't trust the Tatiana clan anymore. That's what I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna call them Tatianas, you know? All right, so let's talk about how they love to capitalize on the black community. We already know that they've been spray tanning themselves to look darker than they are, trying to pass themselves off as racially ambiguous, trying to make it seem like their father is Southeast Asian or something, or Middle Eastern or something like that. And for a long time I believed it too, but I was told that the man is white. He probably was self-tanning himself, and that's why he looked the way he did as well. But I just saw a recent picture of Kim, the head widow, and she has West African thread in her hair. She thread her hair in a West African style, and I was shocked beyond. I mean, it hasn't caught on yet, but that was a form of cultural appropriation, which they perfected. But I felt like she took it to the next level, and soon white media is gonna jump all on it, and they're gonna start renaming our hairstyle, our threading hairstyles. Yes, we have different names for each of those threading hairstyles. We have Mama Wata, we have Tai Tai, we have different names for them. And now they're gonna start renaming it, and they'll probably call it the Medusa. Oh look, Kim was wearing the Medusa hairstyle. And then everybody's gonna thread their hair. I mean, when I say everybody, I'm saying white people, because we Africans have been doing this. I even have pictures of me wearing thread in my hair. And then white people are gonna start threading their hair, and then they're gonna start calling it names, different names. They're gonna be like, oh, Kim has just invented this new hairstyle called the Medusa, and it looks like she has snakes on her head. Really? So far, everybody is too caught up with the Jordan and Khloe conflict and scandal. They're not even focused on the fact that in the midst of all of this, Kim is cultural appropriating big time West African threading hairstyles that we've grown up with, and there's a reason why we use it, and it's totally different from whatever reason she's using it. She's just finding another way to capitalize on our culture again. I'm gonna put a post and show you guys the head style I'm talking about that Kim is currently cultural appropriating, and she's wearing it with this dress. And while she's wearing this so-called dress, she's complaining about how these companies like Fashion Novas are stealing her ideas when she wears an outfit that, you know, she's been preparing years, months, weeks, days for, and then they just steal it and create a knockoff. And I'm like, bitch, you don't have a life? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I mean, thoughts. You don't have a life that you're preparing an outfit a year in advance? Are you kidding me? A year in advance you're preparing what to wear? And then you're acting like you're the one who designed that outfit. So you're telling me when Fashion Nova and all those companies, they were paying you money to promote their brand, and they were knocking off other designers. It wasn't a problem. But now when you feel that you're too good for Fashion Nova and those companies to promote them, and you're wearing these bigger brands and they're knocking them off, it's a problem for you. You're acting like you're the one who designed the clothes. The clothes are not yours. It's the designer's clothes. Why are you complaining about it? So let me read what she wrote. This is what she wrote. Oh, where is it? She wrote, only 2 days ago, I was privileged enough to wear a one-of-a-kind vintage Mugler dress, and in less than 24 hours, it was knocked off and thrown up on a site. But it's not for sale. You have to sign up for a waiting list because... Sorry for spitting. You have to sign up for a waiting list because the dress hasn't been made to sell yet. I've watched these companies profit off my husband's work for years, and now it's also affecting designers who have been so generous to give me access to their beautiful work. I can no longer sit silent. It's devastating to see these fashion companies rip off designs that have taken blood, sweat, and tears of true designers who have put their all into their original ideas. So that's what she said. But when she and her family are capitalizing and stealing off of black designers, she doesn't have anything to say. Wasn't it just a few months ago a black designer who does accessory? I'm not gonna even say the lady's name because she's problematic herself. I'm not gonna get into her. She was ripping into Kim for stealing her concept and not giving her credit, or even going to her personally to be able to work with her and collaborate on the concept. She ripped off the ideas off her. But you know what? For Kim, it doesn't matter because that designer was black. So when she's talking about these designers, she's not talking about designers that are black, that Asian companies like Fashion Nova, Pretty Little Things, Shein, Ronwi, or whatever the name is, they're constantly ripping off ideas of these black designers and throwing it on their website, and they're selling like hotcakes and they're becoming millionaires. For her, she doesn't care about that, but only when it affects her. And I don't even understand how it affects her because it's not her design. And it's not like these designers are gonna stop letting her wear those clothes. So why is she even opening her mouth to say anything when she steals ideas off people all the time? She stole that hairstyle she was wearing with the outfit, which is really ironic, off African culture. Why is it that when she wore the hairstyle with the outfit, she didn't give props to West Africa for the threading of the hair? She only mentioned the dress she was wearing, but yet she was culture appropriating and stealing our hairstyles. But she didn't mention that. She thought we wouldn't know. She thought that we'll be like, oh, she started this new trend. No, boo. You did not start African threading, and you're not going to be the one to discover it. Even Left Eye from TLC was rocking that hairstyle you're trying to rock when she was doing videos and award shows. And did she get a lot of prop for that? There's a lot of people that are wearing that hairstyle. And for me, I feel like when it comes to hair topics where people get very upset about, you know, people wearing different hairstyles, I personally don't care. That's one fight that I don't get involved with because I'm not invested in it, and I think it's a very petty fight when we have bigger, you know, fights to worry about when it comes to race war. But I just thought it was very telling and very ironic that she was wearing a dress by a designer who I don't know if the designer is white or black. Let me Google the designer to see if the designer is white or black. But she was also wearing a West African hairstyle, but she didn't give any props to the fact that she was wearing a white African hairstyle. I mean a West African hairstyle. So that says a lot. So I'm gonna do research to see if the designer that she was wearing, what race that person is, because it does play a part into it. Because she will acknowledge when white people are supposedly being ripped off, but yet she's constantly ripping off white people, black people, and she's not acknowledging when black people are constantly being ripped off, because she profits and she benefits of black designers, black creatives being ripped off. And that's why she married a black creator, so she can rip him off. And that's why her siblings date and marry black rich men, so they could rip them off. So they can learn the insides and outsides of black culture so that they can profit and rip us off. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but that's what I think. Video was all over the place. I didn't really go into the Jordyn Wood and the Tristan as much because this video wasn't about it. It was more about the Kardashian greed for power, for success. They're clout chasers and they'll do anything to get it. How Kim, Khloe are mean girls, and that's the only reason they did what they did. And the mom has been grooming them since they got a little taste of fame from the O.J. Simpson trial, and she realized that for them to become famous, they need to capitalize on black culture, and the link to black culture is white men and black best friends. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if I'm spitting knowledge, if you disagree with me, if you want to add more input. You know, in conclusion, for me, Jordyn Woods handled the whole situation well. The best way to handle Kardashians is to play their game, but better. If they're gonna talk shit, you talk shit as well, but you do it in a professional manner where they can't really counteract that. So the next step for Jordyn Woods, if they continue whatever game they're playing and they mess with her bag, is to take them to court. She needs to take them to court and then get Kylie to pay her a certain percentage of the company, especially if they remove her makeup collection from the company. You know, if they do any of that. I don't know if I did research, but I couldn't find out if she's a business partner, because she could be a silent business partner and we don't know. And that's where us black people always mess up. We're always willing to give away our rights. We're always willing to give away our power to these people, and then they become successful and powerful and they leave us behind. It doesn't make sense. How are you helping this person create $1 billion business and you're not at the forefront as well as a business partner? If you're the one coming up with all of these ideas for her, because I can tell you, Kylie did not come up with this company by herself. This company was geared towards black people. That's why she got lips fillers to have big lips. That's why she got, bigger lips. That's why she got bigger chest, bigger breasts, because that's how they see us. They see us as a caricature. So everything. So for me, I feel like it's disrespectful. It's very disrespectful for these people to get plastic surgery to look the way they think black people look. It's not flattering, and it's definitely not a compliment. So before you get involved or become friends with different races, make sure they understand your culture, they can appreciate it, and they don't capitalize or appropriate from your culture. So, you know, it's a lesson to be learned for everyone, including myself. So, all right. That's enough of this video. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So 2 weeks ago, it was all over the news from some gossip blogger. And he was talking about how, oh, I got some source from one of my people. Even though we know he doesn't have any people, because his show, all the people that were on his show supposedly left last year, or something happened. One of them, you know, was in the hospital. He didn't go and visit her, and then he fired the other one. So he's his own people. He's by himself. I don't know what's going on with him. But anyway, he said one of his people saw Jordan Woods at a party that belonged to Tristan Thompson, or whatever the hell his name is, Chloe's baby father. And they were hugging and they were kissing and they were all over each other, and then she stayed late until 7 a.m. And I'm wondering, okay, so she stayed late until 7 a.m. Was she by herself? Because the way when we first heard the report, it seemed like everyone left the party and she was the last one there. But my thing is, if everyone left the party, how were they able to witness the kiss that went down? Because supposedly a kiss went down. Or maybe in the beginning a kiss wasn't mentioned. It was just that they were hugged up on each other and they were making out. That's what people were saying, that they were making out. And she stayed until 7 a.m. I don't know when this party started. I don't know why she was at this party. Maybe she was there to spy on Tristan for the Kardashian, and then she let her guard down and she became, you know, comfortable around him, that she no longer felt the need to spy on him. Maybe she has grievances with the Kardashians that she's not, you know, really able to vocalize, you know, because they are very trifling and shady, and they probably did some stuff to her behind the scenes that she doesn't want to talk about, and she probably was a little resentful towards them. That's why it made it easy for her to let her guard down and just have fun with Tristan, because we already know the Kardashians are notorious liars. They will spin any story to make money. They've been on their reality TV shows for 20 years. 20 years. How, I mean, I'm exaggerating, but basically it's felt like 20 years. How do you stay on a reality show for 20 years? I don't understand. Isn't it time to like go? They're gonna be on this reality show until their daughters are all adults. I bet you the Kardashians are gonna have a reality show until all of those kids have grown up and become adults, and people are gonna be watching it. I watched a few episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians when it first aired, and I watched it when it aired. When it premiered, that was the first and last time I watched that show. And even I could tell that first season when it came out and I watched the first few episodes, I could tell that Kim was a horrible person, very toxic, very insecure, very greedy, and very selfish. She was not likable. Up till today, she's still not likable. She was the reason why I stopped watching the show after a few episodes. I disliked this girl so much because she was just a horrible person. And also the first few episodes that I saw, I could tell that Bruce was gay. So like, how is it that it takes 10 years for people to figure out that Bruce Jenner is gay when I knew after watching a few episodes when it first aired? And I don't believe them that they didn't know that Bruce was cross-dressing and was transitioning. His whole face was already plastic surgery. He already looked like a woman. The first season, he already looked like he was turning into a woman. And then Chloe let it slip that when they were younger, she saw him change into women clothes. So how is it that you see this man change into women clothes and it traumatize you, and then all of a sudden when he decides he wants to be a woman, 10, 20 years later, everyone is shocked and surprised. You guys all knew. You all knew that he was cross-dressing and that he wanted to change, but you wanted to spin the narrative and you wanted it to stay private and for him to stay in his cocoon so you guys can make more money off him and make more money off the show. So because things didn't go your way, you started lying and pretending that you didn't know that this man was already trying to become a woman. Lies. So for me, I already knew that these people are liars. And then when this whole Jordan Woods situation came out, I knew they were going to try to spin it their way, make her look like this horrible girl. Not saying that she's not at fault, but I do understand what she's saying. When you sometimes get caught up in the moment and then the alcohol, and yes, alcohol can be an excuse. There have been a lot of people who have done horrible things, done things they've regretted just because of alcohol. You know, alcohol can make you feel nice. She sees these Kardashians, they have thriving, I said thriving, they have all these relationships. She's on the back burner, probably running after them like maids, and doesn't get a chance to have her own successful relationship. So when this good looking guy, yes, he's you know, a skis, he's a fuckboy, he gave her attention, and that made her feel good. She's young, she's impressionable. You know, she didn't think that it was gonna get that far that it did, and when it did, probably she was flattered, you know. Probably she felt kind of like, oh, this, you know, good looking guy, you know, who is dating Chloe, who I probably looked up to, you know, also finds me attractive. Because we don't know what is going on with her self-esteem, being around these girls, you know, where they're all in the spotlight, getting all this attention, and then she's left on the back burner. Maybe she felt flattered, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her for feeling flattered, you know, that he paid her attention. Because you never hear about her love story. You never hear about what's going on. It's like she's sexless and she's in the background while Kylie's getting all these men. So like, where does that leave her? Where does that leave Jordyn Woods if she's always hanging around Kylie and she's getting all the attention from all these successful black men? Why are these black men not paying attention to Jordyn Woods? Why don't we know about it? It's not like she's keeping it private, like her love life. These black successful men, they're bypassing a very beautiful, gorgeous Jordyn Wood to talk to her friend Kylie, because what are they getting out of it? They know that also that they'll get some kind of status symbol because they've been through a Kardashian. So I'm pretty sure that if she was in a relationship with a nice black man, one of those Kardashian would have snatched him up. And who knows, maybe that has happened and we didn't know about it. How are we to know that she hasn't dated a guy that a Kardashian hasn't snatched up? These are all things that we don't know. So for the situation with Jordyn Woods, it was messed up that it did happen, but at the same time, the way it was handled was very telling. I'm not surprised that it was handled that way. These girls are very fake girls, and I'm pretty sure Jordyn Woods is also fake as well because she hangs around them, but I think she's a little bit less fake than them. And the reason why I say she's less fake than them is because she doesn't seem like she's as into the spotlight as they are in. I feel like, yes, she's a business oriented girl, but I feel like if she was into the spotlight, she would have came out more and said, listen, I co-founded Kylie's beauty company with her, because I did do research, and I'm going to do research and read it, but I think that Kylie co-founder for that beauty line is Jordyn Woods. And that's the reason why this whole video, I know I was on a whole tangent, but it was to get to this point. These women use black people to make money, capitalize off of, and don't give them the credit. The way Kylie beauty cosmetic line is going on is making it seem like Kylie is the sole founder. She created everything herself. She even gave a cosmetic collection to Jordyn, and I'm like, but if Jordyn is the co-founder, why does she need a cosmetic collection? She's a co-founder. She should be getting more than a cosmetic collection, and even that, she doesn't even need a cosmetic collection. So I'm gonna do research and read just to make sure that I am spitting facts and I'm not just saying anything. But what I do know is if this does pop off and Jordyn Woods is no longer friends with the Kardashian and she's sent on her way, she needs 50% of the profits of the Kylie Cosmetics. If she's a co-founder, she needs 50% of whatever. She needs to walk away with 50%. And I hope that her mother, the Will Smiths, who are her relatives, you know, lawyer up and get her that 50%. If this was a marriage, she will probably walk away in California with 50%. This is a business, so it should be taken even more seriously. So I'm gonna Google it right now and check to make sure that she is a co-founder, because if she's a co-founder, my thing is Jordan Woods needs to lawyer up and get her 50% of the Kylie Cosmetics, and moving forward, just leave Kylie to do her own thing and come up with her own ideas and start her own business. Hold on, let's do some research to see if Kylie has a co-founder, and if she has a co-founder, who that person is.
Hello and welcome. President Trump used his Twitter account Saturday to spread a baseless conspiracy theory about the death of Jeffrey Epstein, a wealthy and politically connected financier who had been facing multiple charges of sex trafficking involving underage girls. Trump's Justice Department announced that Epstein, who was being held in a federal corrections facility, died by apparent suicide. But Trump appeared to disregard his administration's statement, instead retweeting a message from conservative actor and comedian Terrence K. Williams, who suggested that Epstein's death might be tied to former President Bill Clinton. Williams also questioned how Epstein could have died by suicide if he had been on suicide watch. The claim is completely unsubstantiated, and federal officials say Epstein was not on suicide watch at the time of his death. He had been placed on suicide watch last month, but then taken off within a week, according to a person familiar with the situation, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss a matter that is the subject of an ongoing investigation. Angel Urena, a Clinton spokesman, responded on Twitter, "Ridiculous and of course not true, and Donald Trump knows it. Has he triggered the 25th Amendment yet? The 25th Amendment spells out a process for the President's cabinet to remove him from office." A Justice Department spokeswoman declined to comment on the President's retweet. Asked about Trump's retweet, White House counselor Kellyanne Conway said on Fox News Sunday that the President just wants everything to be investigated. She also criticized those who she said are trying to connect the President to this monster from years ago where they are seen dancing in the video. A reference to a recently resurfaced NBC News video of Trump and Epstein partying together at Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in 1992. Others, Conway said, were actively, I suppose, flying around this monster on his island. Perhaps there's a public interest in knowing more about that. Some Democrats rebuked Trump for retweeting the conspiracy theory. Senator Cory Booker, DNJ, who is running for president, said Trump is using the same tactics and languages of the Russians if you look at the intelligence reports about how they're coming at our democracy. Booker called Trump's actions dangerous and said he has been using the Clintons as a means for a lot of his false accusations. This is a nation now where we have just seen horrific acts, whether it is someone walking into a pizza shop based upon those kind of conspiracy theories to take violent action, the Democrat said, referring to the Pizzagate conspiracy theory cited by a gunman who walked into the district restaurant Comet Ping Pong in 2016 and fired an assault rifle. We see people's lives being threatened because this president whips up hatred. On Saturday, Senator Marco Rubio, RFLA, warned against embracing conspiracy theories about Epstein. Although scrutiny of Epstein's apparent suicide is warranted, Rubio said on Twitter, "The immediate rush to spread conspiracy theories about someone on the other side of partisan divide, having him killed, illustrates why our society is so vulnerable to foreign disinformation and influence efforts." The president, who is on vacation at his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey, is no stranger to using his considerable public platform to promote conspiracy theories, particularly those that target his political opponents. For years, Trump promoted the myth that former President Barack Obama was born in Kenya rather than in the United States. During the 2016 presidential campaign, Trump spread a conspiracy theory that the father of Senator Ted Cruz, R. Tex, Rafael Cruz was somehow connected to the 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy. He has claimed without evidence that Obama wiretapped Trump Tower in New York, and he once entertained an unsubstantiated theory that former Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, who died in his sleep in February 2016, may have been killed. Trump's latest tweet could surely help fuel the conspiracy theories that have quickly spread online since news of Epstein's death broke Saturday. Epstein, 66, was found unresponsive in his cell at the Federal Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan about 6:30 a.m. Saturday, according to the officials. Several agencies, including the FBI, the New York City Medical Examiner, and the Justice Department's Inspector General, have begun inquiries into how Epstein could have died while in federal custody. Epstein appeared to have hanged himself, officials said. The Bureau of Prisons and Attorney General William P. Barr called the death an apparent suicide, although one official said no formal determination has been made. Representative Louis Frankel, DFLA, who has demanded congressional investigations into Epstein's past crimes, questioned whether his death was really a suicide, suggesting without evidence on Saturday that there might be a link between his death and the powerful people with whom he was associated. There are a lot of very powerful people who wanted to see this man dead. So was it really just a suicide? Frankel told NPR. Was it just negligence by the officials who had custody of him? I don't know, but I definitely think it needs to be investigated. Online news of Epstein's death quickly fed conspiracy theories that powerful people who once socialized with Epstein, such as Trump and Clinton, had a hand in the financier's fate and stood to benefit from his silencing. A hashtag Clinton body count hashtag trended on Twitter last month after Epstein was found injured and placed on suicide watch. It was revived Saturday, often in conjunction with hashtags about Epstein's death. Lynn Patton, a Trump appointee at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, used her Instagram account to spread a version of the conspiracy theory. But Clinton wasn't the only name becoming fodder for proponents of conspiracies around Epstein's death. An echo of the Clinton hashtag implicating the president, the hashtag Trump body count, also was trending early Saturday afternoon. Various unsubstantiated Clinton conspiracy theories have circulated for decades, but some have criticized Twitter for giving them new prominence by allowing related hashtags to gain momentum and to show up in the site's trends sidebar. Twitter said in a statement that the social media platform's trends are determined by the rate and consistency of tweets on a topic in a certain location. The company said the site aims to reflect the public conversation. Twitter's rules say it wants to promote healthy discussions and may prevent content from trending if it contains profanity or certain graphic elements, incites hatred on the basis of qualities such as gender or race, or otherwise violates Twitter policy. Ghislaine Maxwell was, according to her accusers, Jeffrey Epstein's protector and procurer, his girlfriend and his madam. She was, by all accounts, a soulmate and a mirror image. He grew up in Brooklyn with no money to speak of and never finished college. She is a Paris-born, Oxford-educated, a jet-setter who partied with princes and billionaires. Together, Epstein and Maxwell allegedly built what prosecutors, police, and a growing number of women described as a sex trafficking operation that crisscrossed the nation to provide Epstein with 3 young girls a day. The death of Epstein, the convicted sex offender, who authorities said hanged himself in a federal detention center cell in New York on Saturday, leaves those who seek to hold someone responsible for the alleged abuse of dozens of girls with one prime target, Maxwell. The U.S. Attorney in New York, Jeff Berman, assured the brave young women who have already come forward and the many others who have yet to do so, that our investigation of the conduct charged in the indictment, which included a conspiracy count, remains ongoing. For 30 years, prosecutors and victims tried to hold Jeffrey Epstein to account. At every turn he slipped away. According to many of the women who have spoken about what Epstein allegedly did to them, Maxwell was the financier's chief co-conspirator. Maxwell, 57, has not been charged and has denied any wrongdoing. According to people familiar with the investigation, authorities have had trouble locating Maxwell, who is believed to be living abroad. Her 5-story Manhattan townhouse was sold in 2016 for $15 million by a company that used the address of Epstein's New York office. Her lawyers told a judge in 2017 that she was in London but had no fixed address. Lawyers representing Epstein's alleged victims said they couldn't expect Maxwell to return to the United States anytime soon for fear of being arrested. Martina Vandenberg, founder and president of the non-profit Human Trafficking Legal Center, said she was thrilled to hear the prosecutor's announcement that the investigation would continue, saying it would encourage more alleged victims to come forward. For someone who stood by Epstein through the most sordid allegations, Maxwell was also a factor in his downfall. It was through a 2015 defamation lawsuit filed against Maxwell by one of Epstein's alleged victims, Virginia Roberts Jeffrey, that thousands of pages of documents containing detailed accounts of Epstein's alleged abuses became public last week. But Maxwell herself had long since slipped away. Although associates of Epstein said Maxwell never completely broke off relations with Epstein, she became far less of a presence at his various properties in recent years. Maxwell was a focus of the Epstein investigation from the start, according to the Palm Beach police officials who began the probe. The girls they interviewed repeatedly described Maxwell as the coordinator of Epstein's sex trafficking operation, but detectives were never able to interview Maxwell. Attorneys for Maxwell did not return calls seeking comment. Throughout the years since Epstein was first accused of sexual abuse, Maxwell has insisted that she did nothing wrong and knew of no illegal acts. In a deposition she gave in Jeffrey's defamation suit in 2016, Maxwell said that Virginia is an absolute liar and everything she has said is a lie. Therefore, based on those lies, I cannot speculate on what anybody else did or didn't do. Everything she said is false. The suit was settled out of court in 2017. But a growing number of women have said that Maxwell was the prime organizer of Epstein's 3 times daily massages, and that she acted as a recruiter and paymaster for the girls who came to Epstein's Palm Beach mansion. Jeffrey said Maxwell recruited her in 2000, when she was 16 or 17 and working at Donald Trump's Palm Beach club, Mar-a-Lago. As Jeffrey recorded in her lawsuit, Maxwell told her, "I know somebody, we can train you, we can get you educated, we can help you along the way if you pass the interview. If the guy likes you, then it will work out for you, you'll travel, you'll make good money." But at her first meeting with Epstein, Jeffrey said in a deposition, "Maxwell instructed me to take off my clothes and to give oral sex to Jeffrey Epstein." In an interview with the Miami Herald last year, Jeffrey said the training started immediately. It was everything down to how to be quiet, be subservient, give Jeffrey what he wants. A lot of this training came from Ghislaine herself. And being a woman, it kind of surprises you that a woman could actually let stuff like that happen. But not only let it happen, but to groom you into doing it. But not only let it happen, but to groom you into doing it. Jeffrey also said that Maxwell ordered her to have sex with Prince Andrew, former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, and former Senate Majority Leader George J. Mitchell. "My whole life revolved around just pleasing these men and keeping Ghislaine and Jeffrey happy," Jeffrey said in the deposition. Their whole entire lives revolved around sex. Spokesmen for Richardson and Mitchell vigorously denied Jeffrey's allegations and said they never had any contact with her. A spokesperson for Buckingham Palace said, "Any suggestion of impropriety with underage minors is categorically untrue." Asked in a deposition about Maxwell's role in procuring girls for him, Epstein said only, "Fifth, referring to his Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination. Johanna Sjoberg, a student at Palm Beach Atlantic University when she said Maxwell hired her as an assistant, said in a 2015 deposition that was released Friday that it was Maxwell's job to ensure that 3 girls a day were made available to Epstein for his sexual pleasure. He needed to have 3 orgasms a day, Joberg said. It was biological, like eating. In another document released Friday, Ronaldo Rizzo, the houseman for one of Epstein's closest friends, testified that a 15-year-old Swedish girl tearfully told him that Maxwell and Epstein had threatened her with physical harm and confiscated her passport to assure that she stayed at Epstein's private island in the Caribbean. Yet another woman has claimed that Maxwell not only recruited girls for Epstein, but took part in the sexual abuse of girls. Marriott Farmer said in an affidavit earlier this year that she met Maxwell and Epstein at an art show when she was a graduate student in Manhattan in 1995. The next summer, Farmer said both Maxwell and Epstein sexually assaulted her at the Ohio estate of Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder of the limited stores and Epstein's only publicly known financial client. Farmer also said that Maxwell took part in the sexual abuse of her 15-year-old sister on a massage table at Epstein's Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. Through her years with Epstein, Maxwell maintained a very public life at the pinnacle of society. She was a friend of John F. Kennedy Jr. in New York in the 1990s and a guest at Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010. She had a long relationship with an Italian accountant. She attended fashion shows and top-dollar benefit balls in New York and London and went to the Vanity Fair party at the Oscars, where she was photographed in 2014 with Elon Musk, the tech entrepreneur. In 2000, she obtained her townhouse on Manhattan's East 65th Street. It was purchased for her for $5 million by an anonymous corporation located at the same address as Epstein's finance office. Maxwell served on boards of charities and founded a non-profit organization that sought to conserve the world's oceans. The organization announced last month that it was ceasing operations. Describing herself as unemployed, Maxwell donated the maximum possible, $2,300, to Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign in 2007. In a profile of Epstein in Vanity Fair in 2003, he said that Maxwell was not a paid employee but rather his best friend. But after Epstein's conviction on sexual abuse charges in 2008, Maxwell appeared to distance herself from her friend. Maxwell grew up in a 53-room mansion on 14 acres near Oxford. Her father was Robert Maxwell, a British Member of Parliament and book and newspaper publisher who was regularly on the front pages until he died mysteriously in 1991 aboard the Lady Ghislaine, a yacht he had named for his youngest daughter. The official ruling was that his death was an accident, but some British press coverage just speculated that Maxwell, under pressure because of his enormous debts, killed himself. Ghislaine never believed that and subscribed to the notion that her father was murdered. In life, the father, born Jan Hock, a Czech Jewish refugee before he transformed himself into a London publisher, carried himself like a man of extreme wealth. When he died, he was found to owe money to more than 40 banks, to the tune of more than $4 billion. Soon after her father's death, Ghislaine Maxwell moved to New York. She had a trust fund from her father, which provided her with about $100,000 a year, according to British news reports. But there was no fortune to rely on. She worked in Manhattan selling real estate. Then less than a year after her father died, she met Epstein. Maxwell was Epstein's guide to a heady world of celebrity, wealth, power, and royalty. She introduced him to Bill Clinton and to Prince Andrew, who became a frequent visitor to Epstein's properties. Maxwell and Epstein flew around the world on his private jet and invited top scientists and business leaders to dinners. Friends said that although their romantic relationship lasted only a few years, she continued to work with or for him long afterwards. In court documents, former employees at the Epstein mansion in Palm Beach described Maxwell as the house manager, the person who oversaw the staff, handled finances, and served as social coordinator, often doing the glad handing while the more reserved Epstein stayed in the background at parties and dinners. In 1993, an ad in Yoga Journal offered a full-time position for an Iyengar yoga instructor to teach a private individual. The job includes fantastic perks such as extensive travel, the ad said, and it advised interested parties to call Ms. Maxwell at a phone number that was Epstein's office number. In a deposition in 2016, Maxwell agreed that her work at the Epstein houses included hiring many people, all sorts of people. She said that a very small part of my job was from time to time to find adult professional massage therapists for Jeffrey. As far as I'm concerned, everyone who came to his house was an adult professional person. Thank you for listening to the news.